Have you ever felt like you're the odd one out in a crowd? What if the whole world has been lying to you about who you really are? They tell you there's something wrong with you. They tell you you're not normal. They tell you you need to change. But I'm going to tell you a different truth, a truth that any anthropologist knows. And it will change everything you think about yourself. You've been called weird before. You've been called difficult. You've been called bad at fitting in. Have you ever asked yourself why? Why are you different? Why can't you just be like everyone else? I'll tell you the reason. Think about the things that obsess you. Maybe it's trains. Maybe it's dinosaurs. Maybe it's the flags of every country in the world. Or the entire taxonomic classification of every beetle species. You have a superpower that most people don't have. You notice the detail that 40 other people scroll right past. You tell the truth when an entire meeting room is lying. You don't get swept up by the crowd when everyone else is blind, and the world calls you socially unskilled. They say you're not a team player. They say you have communication issues. They want to fix you like a software bug. But we got it wrong, completely wrong. Look to the past. Look beyond modern schools, beyond offices with fluorescent lights, beyond the entire machine that defines what normal looks like. The kid who memorizes every detail about animals. That kid wasn't bullied in prehistoric times. That kid became the tracker, the one the whole tribe depended on to survive. The one no one could replace. So what's the real question? The question isn't what's wrong with the autistic brain. The question is, what if there was never anything wrong with it at all? What if autistic traits weren't a malfunction, but an essential part of how humans survived? Stick around, because the entire concept of normal is about to be flipped upside down. Let's demolish a dangerous assumption, an assumption that has existed for way too long. The belief that the autistic mind is something broken, a defective copy of the normal brain, something that could never survive the harsh past. They say only socially tuned people survived. They say different people would have been left behind. That's a beautiful story, but it's completely wrong. Because here's the scientific truth, a truth that took us embarrassingly long to figure out. If everyone in the tribe had identical brains, then the whole group would share the same weakness, the same blind spot, the same way of failing, and the same enemy would kill all of them. Resilience comes from diversity, from having different ways of seeing the world, different ways of thinking, different ways of solving problems. Human groups didn't succeed because they were identical. They succeeded because they were different, because they combined different cognitive styles, creating something more powerful than any single style alone. When you look at a tribe as an ecosystem, each mind doing a different job, then the autistic mind isn't an outsider, it's a specialist. A specialist the system was built to include. Let's go through each role one by one, just like checking every tool in a toolkit. Start with the most important one, the one people complain about the most: intense focus on a single interest. In the classroom, this is a problem. The kid won't stop talking about dinosaurs. They can't focus on math. In the office, this is also a problem. They go too deep into what they love and ignore what they don't care about, but put that trait into a tribe. Survival depended on deep expertise. Which plants are edible? Which plants kill you in an hour? The migration routes of the antelope herd. The signs of changing weather, the movement of the stars. How to read a track in the dirt, not just knowing which animal made it, but knowing how heavy it was, how fast it was moving, and how long ago it passed. This isn't casual knowledge, a massive body of life or death knowledge, and someone had to hold it. Imagine a mind built to lock onto one subject, absorbing it with joy and obsession, accumulating more detail than anyone else. That's not a flaw. That's the perfect mind to be the tribe's living library. The one who knows every plant, the one who understands animals best, the one who spent thousands of hours mastering a domain that kept everyone alive while the social people were busy managing relationships. The specialist was building the knowledge the whole group depended on. A tribe without someone like that knows a little about everything, and a little knowledge in the wild will get you killed. Next, attention to detail, detecting the smallest change, the detail that everyone else's brain glosses over. In modern life, this feels like a curse. You notice the flickering light, the crooked picture frame, something that's slightly off. And it nags at you while everyone else is blissfully oblivious. But take that to the ancient world. Survival was a game of noticing. A faint track means prey is near. Grass moving differently means a predator is hiding. A changing sky signals deadly weather. The difference between an edible berry and a poisonous one. They look nearly identical except for one tiny feature. A mind that automatically scans for detail and catches the anomaly nobody else sees. That mind is a survival weapon. The tracker who finds the trail. The one who spots danger first. The gatherer who never confuses a toxic plant. Because they actually see the difference. The difference the rest of the group overlooks. And it goes deeper than just observing, it's systemizing. The drive to understand how things work, figuring out the underlying rules and patterns. Many autistic minds are powerfully drawn to this, not the chaos of social dynamics, but the satisfying logic of how something operates. Think about tool making. Making a good stone axe isn't simple. Napping flint into a sharp, precise blade requires understanding material and angles, understanding force and how the stone will fracture. A complex system that requires patience, a mind that loves understanding systems, that loves getting the method right and repeating it perfectly. That's the mind that makes the best tools. It refines the technique and passes it down, without letting it degrade across generations. The inclusion of these minds in tribes lines up with periods of greatest innovation. Now, a trait few people think of as an advantage. Beautiful honesty. Many autistic people are strikingly honest. Sometimes inconveniently honest. They're bad at and uninterested in deception, the little white lies and manipulations that the neurotypical world runs on. In the modern world, this is seen as a deficit. They don't get sarcasm. They're too blunt, but flip the script. In a small tribe where survival depends on trust, who do you want by your side? You want the person who cannot lie to you, the person whose word is rock solid. The person with no hidden agenda, no manipulation for personal gain. Transparent, reliable honesty, incredibly valuable in a cooperative group. The person who genuinely cannot deceive you is the safest person to have beside you, the trait we call a social skill deficit. Turns out to be the most trustworthy trait. Many autistic minds are less swayed by social pressure, less likely to follow the crowd and groupthink. In the modern world, you're called difficult. You can't read the room. You refuse to get with the program. Think about what groupthink actually does. When a whole socially tuned group believes the same thing, they feed each other's certainty, they get swept up in the same wave, and they can march confidently off a cliff. Panic spreads like a disease. In that moment, the most valuable person is the one not swept along, the one looking at actual evidence instead of social consensus, the one who calmly says when everyone is panicking, "Wait, that doesn't add up." A mind somewhat immune to social contagion keeps a clear head in a crisis, questions the assumptions everyone else swallowed, sees what the crowd was too busy agreeing on to notice. The sensory dimension is a double-edged sword. We have to be honest about it. Many autistic people experience the sensory world more intensely. Sounds are louder, lights are brighter, textures are overwhelming, smells are stronger. In a modern environment full of fluorescent lights and noise, this is often genuinely painful and exhausting. That is real, but in the ancient world, what did that mean? The one who hears sounds others miss, the one who smells smoke or animal scent first, the one with senses sharp enough to catch early warnings. In a world where spotting a predator seconds earlier means life or death, a finely tuned sensory system is a sentinel's gift. The sensitivity that makes a mall unbearable makes someone the early warning system out on the open plains. And finally, the love of routine and consistency. The need for things to be done the same way, a specific, reliable order. Much of ancient survival knowledge was procedural. The precise sequence to prepare toxic food safely, the exact method for making tools and building shelter, performing the ritual that holds the group together. These had to be preserved accurately across generations. No writing, no books, only memory and practice. Who preserves the method without letting it degrade? The one who values doing it right every time, who resists casual change. Who treats the correct procedure as sacred? The one who needs routine to stay the same. Is the one who keeps life-saving methods from being lost. Look at the whole picture, the deep specialist mastering one vital domain. The detail catcher who spots danger first. The systemizer who builds and refines technology, the honest one everyone trusts. The independent thinker who resists deadly groupthink. The sensory sentinel, the faithful keeper of the methods. That's not a list of deficits, that's a list of superpowers in the right context. The autistic mind is not a broken version of a social generalist, it's a completely different specialist, doing things the generalist simply cannot do. This is the heart of complementary cognition. A successful tribe is an ecosystem. It needs socially gifted networkers. They maintain relationships and smooth conflict. They are absolutely vital, but it also needs the specialists, the detail people, the deep focus experts. The truth tellers, the ones who see the world differently. The social generalist and the specialist are not rivals. They're two halves of a whole, each covering the other's blind spots. The generalist keeps the group bonded, the specialist keeps the group alive. With deep knowledge no one else bothered to acquire. Remove either one, and the tribe weakens immediately. You don't get a surviving, innovating group from social generalists alone. You need people who go deep, who notice, who question, who master. You need exactly the kind of mind we're trying so hard to fix. Now, I'm going to slow down here, because getting this wrong is genuinely harmful. This doesn't mean autism is just a superpower. The challenges are real, extremely real. Pretending otherwise is a disservice. Autism is a spectrum, a very wide one. For some, it looks like the focused specialist we're describing. For others, autism comes with profound challenges. Being nonverbal, needing significant daily support, struggling with things the world doesn't accommodate, facing real painful difficulties. No amount of fairy tale storytelling makes that okay. I'm not saying it's a secret gift for many people and their families. The struggle is daily and serious. They need support, not a motivational poster. That's the honest truth, and it matters. Don't paint the ancient world as an accepting paradise either. Life was brutal and often merciless. Not every tribe lovingly cherished those who were different. The point isn't that the past was kind, the point is narrower and more useful. These traits were not inherently useless. There were specific contexts where they were powerful advantages. Groups that included these minds may have done better. The value was there. The roles were real. The contribution was genuine. So what does that leave us with? The autistic mind didn't appear as a modern defect. It's an ancient, recurring type of human mind that played real and important roles for as long as there have been people. The specialist, the noticer, the truth teller, the keeper, the one who sees what the crowd misses. What actually changed isn't the brain, it's the environment. We built a world of open plan offices and fluorescent lights, constant social performance and endless small talk, and a school system designed to produce flexible generalists. A system that is brutally hostile to this exact kind of mind, and then we called that mind disordered for struggling in a world built against it. That's the trap we fall into again and again, mistaking not fitting the world we built for being broken. But a mind isn't broken just because it doesn't fit a classroom or cubicle. A deep-sea creature isn't defective for not thriving in a desert. The autistic mind was thriving and contributing. For the vast majority of human history, it only started looking like a malfunction when we built a society with no obvious place for the specialist that demands everyone be a flexible social generalist, that prizes traits the autistic mind doesn't lead with, and punishes the traits it actually has. So if you've always felt out of sync, if you go deep instead of wide, if you notice what others miss, if you can't lie to save your life, if you need your routines, if you love your one subject with a fire others don't understand, here's the thing worth holding onto: you are not the failed version of a normal person. You are a specialist born into a world that forgot it was built out of specialists. The tribe needed the person who saw differently. It needed the one who went deep, the noticer, the truth teller, and the keeper of the methods for hundreds of thousands of years. Minds like that weren't problems to solve. They were part of why any of us made it at all. Did autistic traits help ancient tribes? The honest answer, looking at each trait and how human groups actually survived, is that they didn't just help, they may have been essential. We didn't conquer this planet with a single mind. With one perfectly social identical brain, we did it with a wild, varied collection, each brain catching what the others dropped, and somewhere in that collection, doing the quiet, deep, detailed, honest, irreplaceable work, is the mind we look at and call broken. It was never broken, it was the specialist. And the strangest part is we still need it as badly as we ever did. We just built a world loud enough to drown out the fact that we do.